Welcome to the Rare History Channel. 11 Things You Might Not Know About Boxer Joe Louis. The boxing heavyweight division has seen several great fighters since its inception, and the fighters have shown time and again why they belong in that coveted category. Nevertheless, there is one heavyweight who stands out from the rest and is none other than Joe Louis, famously nicknamed the Brown Bomber. His time in the ring saw him display the ultimate mastery of the ring by outboxing his opponents from the beginning of the match till the last minute, that is if they could survive his barreling jabs. He is a famous figure among boxing fans, and he was an undisputed king during his time. He was fierce, a strategist, and the most dominant force in boxing during his reign. With his intelligence, Joe Louis was able to achieve accolades that the majority of boxers could only dream of, going ahead to be cherished and revered by both his fans and opponents. Fact number 1. He was born in Alabama. Joe Louis was born on May 13, 1914, in a rundown home on Bell Chapel Road in rural Chambers County, Alabama. This location is about 1 mile off State Road 50 and about 6 miles from Lafayette. He was one of Monroe Barrows and Lily Barrows' 8 children. At birth, he weighed 11 pounds. His parents, who alternated between sharecropping and rental farming, were both descendants of former slaves. Lily was partly Cherokee, whereas Monroe was an African American with mixed European blood. His father was admitted to a mental institution when he was 2 years old. The family subsequently relocated to Detroit after his mother's quick second marriage to Patrick Brooks. Number 2. Louis had a speech impairment. Louis suffered from a speech impediment and spoke very little until about the age of 6. His speech impairments interfered with and disrupted his normal speech. It meant stuttering and lisps for him for the bigger part of his childhood. Number 3. He attended Bronson Vocational School to learn cabinet making. Louis was placed in a class with considerably younger students in Detroit due to his subpar education in Alabama. He became embarrassed as a result and withdrew. He remained quiet and spoke little for a long time. He studied cabinet making at Bronson Vocational School. Louis assisted with odd jobs after his stepfather lost his job. He developed enormous shoulder strength by transporting ice blocks for an ice wagon driver, which would come in handy in his boxing career. At the age of 17, he dropped out of school and began developing his boxing talents while working at the Briggs Automobile Factory moving truck bodies for $1 a day. Number 4. Louis began his amateur career in 1932 at only 17 years. At the age of 17, Louis made his amateur debut at the beginning of 1932. After his debut ended in defeat to future Olympian Johnny Myler, Louis went on to amass several amateur victories and finally claimed the club title of the Brewster Street Recreation Center, which was the training ground for many prospective Golden Gloves competitors. Having finished his amateur career with 50 victories in 54 bouts, including 43 knockouts, he qualified to turn professional. Number 5. He omitted his name to hide his identity from his mother. He started as Joe Louis down from Joseph Louis Barrow in amateur boxing. It is said that the barely literate Louis scribbled his name so large before the bout that his final name was omitted. As a result, he was known as Joe Louis for the rest of his boxing career. Louis probably only dropped his last name to hide his boxing ambitions from his mom. His mother had made an effort to pique his curiosity about the violin. According to sources, Louis tried to conceal his desire to box from his mother by keeping his boxing gloves inside the case for his violin. Number 6. Joe Louis and the military. As World War II raged on, Joe Louis donated almost $100,000 worth of his earnings to Army and Navy relief societies. In 1942, he joined the Army. During his service, the boxer was part of over 96 boxing exhibitions and went in the ring for over 2 million members of the military. After an 11-year and 8-month streak as heavyweight champion, the longest run in history at the time, Joe Louis said goodbye to boxing on March 1, 1949. His retirement would be short-lived. Number 7. He won the Detroit Area Golden Gloves Novice Division Championship in 1933. Lewis defeated Joe Biskey to win the light heavyweight division in the 1933 Detroit area Golden Gloves Novice Tournament. Later, at the Chicago Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions, he was defeated. He defeated Max Bauer to win the Chicago Tournament of Champions the next year while participating in the Golden Gloves Open Division's light heavyweight division. He won the light heavyweight United States Amateur Champion National AAU competition in St. Louis, Missouri, in April 1934. Number 8. Lewis started boxing as a professional in 1934. In 1934, Lewis made the transition from amateur to a professional boxer, destroying opponents with his deadly combinations and strong punch. The youthful boxer defeated Primo Carnera and Max Baer, two former heavyweight champions. On June 19, 1936, Schmeling of Germany scored a knockout in the 12th round to deliver Lewis his first professional loss. He was unable to halt Schmeling, the former heavyweight champion. On June 22, 1938, Lewis returned for their rematch, which he won in 2 minutes at Yankee Stadium. Number 9. He became the heavyweight champion on June 22, 1937. In a contest with James Braddock, he won his first heavyweight championship title in 1937. Lewis was offered the opportunity to compete against James Braddock for the heavyweight title on June 22, 1937. Although Braddock was known for his tenacity, the fresher, tougher opponent outmatched him even though he had put Lewis to the ground early. To win the heavyweight title, Lewis knocked out Braddock in the 8th round after thrashing him throughout the late rounds. By winning the title, Lewis became the first African American heavyweight champion since Jack Johnson, and 20 years had elapsed. Number 10. Lewis had the longest single reign as champion of any boxer in history. From 1937 until 1949, he held the title of heavyweight champion of the world. During that time, he competed in 26 title matches, won 21 contests, made 25 defenses, and held the title for 11 years and 10 months. The latter two continue to stand as heavyweight division records, while the first is a record in any division. With 26 victories, Lewis holds the record for the most heavyweight title wins in history. Number 11. Lewis died of cardiac arrest. On April 12, 1981, Lewis passed away after a cardiac arrest at Desert Springs Hospital outside of Las Vegas. On April 21, 1981, Lewis was buried at the Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. Max Schmeling, a former rival and friend who also served as a pallbearer, contributed financially to the burial expenses.